we're now going to speak, we're going to move away from the focus on the tools, and we're going to speak more broadly about data science career opportunities, and we'll hear from some individuals' journeys and how they got to where they currently are. This will be a panel discussion, but first, Ekow will introduce himself and the panel to you. Thank you.
So my name is Ekow Duker, and I'm in the very privileged position of running a data science consultancy. So I work with a bunch of really smart data scientists who are all much smarter than myself. And I'll share with you some of the things that resonate strongly with me on a personal level as well because of that. So before I joined Ekow Analytics in 2016, I was the Chief Analytics Officer for the Retail and Business Bank for Barclays Africa based in Johannesburg. And during that time and afterwards with Ekow, I've learned a few things about what it takes to build a career in analytics and data science. I'd like to share some of those things with you. Now, they're summarized really well in 3 blogs I read recently. They're by a Canadian called Gordon Shotwell, Ben Diaz, who is English, and a Kenyan data scientist in Nairobi called Kathleen Siminyu. So many of you have probably come to analytics and data science from non-traditional backgrounds, right? For myself, I've worked as an oil field engineer in Libya, and as a minicab driver in London, and in private equity in Johannesburg. And I also write fiction in my spare time. So let's start with some non-traditional perspectives on how to build a career in analytics and data science. So firstly, you want to emulate 1 or 2 people who know what they're doing, right? So you want to listen to their online talks, you want to follow their work on public platforms like GitHub or Zindi, and I'll speak a little bit about Zindi later. You gain a lot of insight by doing this. Secondly, you want to go deeper rather than broad, and I'll explain what I mean. The field of data science is really broad, right? And there's a lot of data science instruction out there that is hard to know where to start, and it's just as hard to know when to stop. So it's actually much better to aim to be good at a few things than mediocre at many. So our chief scientist, Megan Yates, she's fantastic when it comes to building recommender engines, but by her own admission, she's not as strong on image recognition. Right? So when you come across a problem that you've not done before, the base skills that you've learned elsewhere will usually allow you to get up to speed quite quickly. Okay? Then you want to have clearly defined goals. It's, to say to yourself that I want to learn to code or I want to learn statistics, those are terrible objectives because there's no end in sight. Right? It's much better to have a smaller goal like I want to learn how to write a function in R, or I want to be able to fit a linear model. Those are much more practical, much more doable. You also want to focus on trajectory because no matter who you are or how much you know, there's always somebody who knows more than you, and that can be disheartening. So it's much more helpful to ask yourself, am I making progress? Do I know a little more today than I knew yesterday? So that means that you need to put in the hours, and you need to put in the hours consistently. Next, what I think really helps is that you want to find kind people to help you. Right? So kind experts will help you learn, and kind experts generally know more than unkind people. And so yesterday when we heard from Henny, he spoke a little bit about the harm that data science can do by excluding people. So when we hire, we explicitly look for kindness, because No matter how brilliant and obnoxious self-centered data scientist is, you'll always lose out to a group of people who are working together on a problem. Next, you want to try your best to avoid what they call boundary setting behavior. So boundary setting behavior is when you're part of a group that attempts to draw lines around that group to include themselves and exclude you. For example, programmers might say real programmers use the command line, right? Or you need to have a PhD in statistics to be a data scientist. So you need to remember that there's a difference between being a member of a profession and being a really good member of that profession. They're not the same. Then you want to learn to bounce back as well, because every time you have some success, you bank a bit of enthusiasm, right? And every time you experience a challenge, you lose some of it. It's important to try to understand what helps you gain energy and enthusiasm and what takes it away. So whenever you notice that you're going into the red on the enthusiasm scale, you need to do something that lifts you back up. So maybe you take a walk, you take a nap, you could exercise, you could look for easy data science questions to answer. So what I do is I write, so that helps. But then it's also very clear that when you're looking to build a career in the data science, it doesn't stop at the classroom, right? Some of you will work in startups, some of you do work in startups, and others will want to work for someone else. That's fine. So here's some tips from a gentleman called Ben Diaz that also resonate strongly with me around what to include in your CV. Now these days, almost anyone can claim to be a data scientist. Right? It's sexy and it supposedly helps you to get into parties. It helps to have an educational background in a mathematical subject. Why is this important? Because there are many courses that will teach you data science. So it's almost as though they show you the algorithms to take off the shelf. They don't necessarily explain to you why. So that's where the math starts to come in. Because a real data scientist is someone who understands the technical details behind the algorithms and knows when to use one and not the other, and how to adjust the parameters so that it actually works. There are many online courses out there that do not teach you this. They just sort of point you to a set of shiny tools on the shelf, and you go away thinking, well, we use this one for that problem and that one for that problem. It's not enough. Okay. And it helps as well to be able to demonstrate that you have independent research experience. Why this is important is because data science is, by definition, it's a research activity. Because you're looking to solve a problem where the solution is not clear and success is not guaranteed. And I think the hackathon embodies this, right? Okay. So you want to show some evidence in your CV that you have carried out independent research. The obvious way to do this is to show you have a master's or a PhD, but if you don't have that, no need to panic. You should also look to show the relevant work experience. Now we come to programming skills, and a lot of people who do work in data science, when asked what makes them a data scientist, they would simply list 100 languages that they know. But in reality, you probably only use 2 or maybe 3 at a time. Okay, so here is what a hiring manager will probably look for. They want to see that you know high-level rapid prototyping language such as Python or R, a low-level deployment language such as C++, C# or Java, a scalable big data language such as Scala or Spark. And you probably want to see all 3 for a senior data scientist. the first two for a data scientist, and the first, so R or Python for a junior data scientist. And the next of all, most important is to talk about the impact. We sometimes want to talk about who we reported to or how accurate the models were. That doesn't really matter, because what really matters is the impact that you're able to demonstrate. Okay. And it's very important to remember that all models are wrong. Right? Some of them are useful. Okay. So it doesn't really matter if the accuracy of your model was only 60%. 60% could be good enough to drive some real, to show some real change within a business, and that's great. Then we come to softer skills, and this is something that Charles spoke about as well. And especially for senior data scientist roles, you want to show evidence of stakeholder management, your ability, the ability to influence senior managers and stakeholders, the presentations you've made to business and non-technical audiences, right? So, so these are all very important. Okay. Lastly, lastly, just to round up, some thoughts from Kathleen Siminyu, who's a data scientist in Nairobi. And what she says is that you want to find your tribe. Okay. And I was speaking to Mary yesterday. I don't know whether she's here. That's over there. Okay. And there's a Kenyan AI WhatsApp group. And it's one of the most wonderfully vibrant and helpful platforms that I know. And it's full of people like yourselves who are exploring. They encourage each other, they assist each other, and to grow their skills and show each other opportunities in data science. And I'd encourage you to join a group like that. Secondly, becoming a data scientist takes time. So you need to put in the hours, you need to buckle down and simply put in the hours, and trust that doing that will actually get you there. There will be times when you feel you don't measure up. So like I said at the beginning, the data scientists at ICSU are so much smarter than me. But then you need to focus on your trajectory, and you need to be kind to yourself. Then you also need to remember that it doesn't matter if they know that I don't know. That's absolutely fine, because some of your models will perform no better than guesswork. It's important that you don't take this as a reflection of your own, as a reflection of your abilities. Because the data sets that you get in courses are clean and tidy, and they generally cooperate. Real world data sets are not like that. They are horrible, they are messy, they fight with you, they are not well behaved. They are not well behaved at all. So you have to get the data, you clean it up, you need to decide what questions to ask, how to visualize it, and the algorithms to try. Doing this is hard. Your first models will be crap. Right? But it's important not to doubt yourself. So you want to build a pipeline or a process that works for you, so that you can quickly make a distinction between what works and what doesn't work, and move quickly to refining the models and starting to build models that actually work. And then finally, you want to start doing actual data science work on your own as soon as possible, as soon as you can. Because the temptation is to keep on doing courses, right? But a course can only teach you so much. So what I would say is that once you've done probably 2 courses, then you want to start to add competitions and challenges to your learning cycle. So this could be on Kaggle, and it could be on Driven Data, or it could be on Zindi. Now, just to close, Zindi is a competition platform that we are building for launch around September this year. And similar to Kaggle, what Zindi will do is that it will allow organizations to post challenges and invite data scientists and teams like yourselves to solve them for a prize. So we see Zindi as becoming the platform where African data scientists go to learn and where they go to collaborate. And we look forward to sharing the news of its launch with you in the next few months. So just to summarize, 1, you want to put in the hours. 2, you want to be kind. You need to be kind to yourself and seek out kind people who know what they're doing to help you. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?